Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seriously Butthurt Sports. I'm Ralph Lindsay, back with my friend Zach Morgan after a great qualifying and round robin in the NHL playoffs.
That is true. I am Zach Morgan, and I am here to be with Ralph again to talk about hockey.
So before we get into the first round of the playoffs, the New York Rangers, big winners in the NHL lottery draft, looking to get Alexis Lafreniere, who is the what's the word I'm looking for here? The definite number one pick, it looks like.
Yeah, the presumptive number one overall pick, and it's looking like he's going to be the first Quebecian. I'm sure I got that wrong. The first native of Quebec since Marc-Andre Fleury to go number one overall. That's what it's looking like. So
yeah, and not bad company to be in either. So
no.
We'll see if his career pans out the same way Marc-Andre Fleury's had.
Well, where
New York
he's going,
Rangers have already wasted one
it's,
career, but we'll
more
see.
than one, but one notably.
Well, notably. But
Yeah.
The New York Rangers have the Carolina Hurricanes to thank for that, because the Carolina Hurricanes are the team that knocked them out.
They didn't just get knocked
three
out.
Straight games. They got swept.
They got embarrassed, and it really made me happy because, hockey Twitter is a dangerous, dangerous place. But just seeing how the Hurricanes clap back on Twitter, they have the best Twitter account in the entire NHL. It's not even close.
Well, they literally even tweeted out,
You're welcome,
Rangers.
They took the receipts. They took the receipts of the Rangers fans that tweeted at them, and then they posted them right after they swept them, and we're like, oh yeah, but yeah, you're welcome.
They did tweet to the Rangers, "You're welcome, Rangers," for that
Rangers
number one
also
pick.
should thank the big old frozen weighted ball. I'm kidding. I don't actually.
We don't need to get into conspiracy theories.
No, go on Twitter for that.
As they advanced into the first round of playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes will be facing what we thought to be the mighty Boston Bruins, who did not show up in the round robin.
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me on that one. I think
that surprised. I think it surprised everybody. They just didn't look good.
No, they really didn't. Even everyone came out of the gate slow. The entire what they were doing in the regular season, we saw them do none of in the qualifying round. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, they deserve to be in the position they're in. It's sad because they were going into the break probably the strongest team in the East by, it really wasn't close. And they've definitely come down to earth since the break.
And it's opened up the possibility where we're going to see the President Trophy winner back-to-back years kicked out in the first round of the playoffs.
Not quite like they did last year, but I agree. Yeah,
it's not going to be the same fashion where you have a team like Columbus, who no one gave a shot to at all, period, versus a Tampa Bay Lightning team last year that was great. But I mean, still, to be that good during the regular season, and now Boston does not look like Boston, and it's questionable, I think, whether they're going to have Pastrnak and Rask right now. I know Rask played the last two games in the round robin, but I don't know where he is health-wise.
He missed a practice on Monday, but he is expected to start game one, so that should be good. However, Pastrnak, they were both listed unfit to participate yesterday. Okay. So that's definitely alarming, but doesn't seem to be too big of a deal for at least Rask. Pastrnak, they also say he's good to go, so we'll have to see. But
they do play today.
They're playing tonight in a little bit.
What time?
I believe their game starts at 8 p.m.
I got the schedule. I'm getting the schedule up right now.
It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m. tonight on NBC Sports. So, I mean, look, this I see going 7 games. Just because unless Boston shows up like they were in the regular season, I can see it's going 7 games. I can see Carolina beating them if Boston plays the way they did. However, I think it more falls on how is Rask going to play than anything else.
Or, I mean, Yes, it's going to depend on how Rask plays. It's also going to depend on how Pastrnak plays. Pastrnak was one of the best players in the league this year, and quite frankly, he didn't look like himself in the any of the round robin games. So there's a good chance that maybe that's just the wake up call they need, and they come back angrier than ever, and they take care of Carolina really quickly. The other end is Carolina's a team that they were on the doorstep of the Stanley Cup final last year. Sure, there are a couple different pieces. I don't believe Justin Williams is there.
Who was knocked out by Boston, too, nonetheless.
Exactly. So this is definitely a big game in the locker room, Carolina, for sure. But I would not be surprised if this could really go either way. I know you see it going 7, but I think that whoever wins the series will be able to do it in convincing enough fashion where I see it going 5-6 games max.
Okay.
So I could go either way, though.
Okay, well, we're going to now move up the bracket to the Islanders versus the Capitals. And an interesting storyline here. We have the New York Islanders coach, Barry Trotz, who was the coach of the Washington Capitals, leading them to a Stanley Cup, who then cited money as the reason as to why he moved on.
To be fair, it wasn't money per se. It was business considerations.
Yes.
So money.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Anyway.
Money. But so we have an interesting storyline there where you got Barry Trotz, who's going to want to stick it to his old team in the Washington Capitals for not letting him stay, especially winning that Stanley Cup. The Islanders are not a bad team either. They have some pieces. They have a goalie tandem in there that'll help in Semyon Varlamov and I can't pronounce the other guy's name correctly. Help me out here, Zach.
Semyon Varlamov and Thomas Greiss.
Greiss, there you go.
Yep.
So this should be a good matchup. I do see the Capitals winning it. I'd say 6 games just because with Ovechkin, Oshie, the pieces the Capitals have, and that experience in the playoffs, I just don't see the Islanders overcoming it.
It's easy to forget that the Islanders were a very, very strong team. Not only the past 2 seasons, the Islanders have been strong, and they looked pretty good. Again, sure, it's against the Florida Panthers. Historically, in playoff elimination series, they do well against the Panthers. So I know that, and I keep that in mind. But the Islanders are a team that could definitely pose a good threat to someone. It could be a real big thorn in the side, especially given the fact that Barry Trotz is so familiar with those key guys, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Holtby.
Yep, that's true.
So, again, one that could go either way. I do like the Capitals, though, in 6 at the very least, but the Islanders are not going to go down easy. They have a very, very solid goalie tandem, which is actually a really – we're going to see goalie tandems play a really big effect in
this year is definitely going to come out.
These playoffs, excuse me.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I just think when it comes to NHL playoffs, just as well as I, experience matters, and that's why I think the Capitals just have the edge with that little bit of experience.
Yes, experience does matter, but we can't discount the fact that the St. Louis Blues had no Stanley Cup experience before last year.
True.
Oscar Sundqvist did technically have involvement in a championship team, but he wasn't really playing.
True.
He was on the roster.
I'm going to call St. Louis Blues last year the exception, not the rule, in my opinion.
That's fair.
So I'm going to call that I'm going to chalk that up just so that obviously you're going to have one of those years where a team like that just finds a way.
Exactly.
Don't see it happening. I don't see the Islanders being that type of team.
No, but they're definitely a team that could make a run, win a series, maybe 2. But Definitely. You're right. I don't see them going all the way.
Now, moving up again on the bracket with a game that's actually currently going on, and this is even more interesting. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. We have a rematch of last year's first round where the Columbus Blue Jackets eliminated the President Trophy winners who seem to be the best team in the NHL, and the Blue Jackets swept them last year. They are currently in the third period tied 2-2 with about 12 and a half minutes left in the game.
That is correct. And this was a game where Pierre-Luc Dubois opened it up early with a big deflection goal. Then from
on the power play, nonetheless.
On the power play. Then Braden Point was able to respond. Columbus took the lead in the second. And then Yanni Gourde at the start of the period tied up the game. And now The good news for the Lightning is they showed up past the first period of the playoffs this year.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
you're already ahead of what you did last year, which is great.
Yes.
Good for the Lightning.
Yes. And it got chippy early as well. I was watching it. I don't know who it was. I'll find out his name, but maybe it was Savad, bloody beard, bloody lip. It got a little chippy early. There is bad blood between these two teams from last year. That's obvious. The Lightning do not want to look like fools, clearly.
The Lightning are motivated, and you know what? John Tortorella is probably motivated to some extent. This is his old squad. He did lead them to their only Stanley Cup championship, and he knows something about beating them, given last year.
Yes.
So I really like the locker room in Columbus. I really think they bought into their coach's message, and they have a really strong defense. You mentioned Savard, who hopefully he's okay and can continue.
Oh, he played. Like it literally was like quintessential hockey. You could see the blood in the beard. You could see his bottom lip. And he just played. He stayed on. He played. When he went to the bench, they obviously tried to clean him up a little bit, but it was quintessential hockey. He stayed in the game. He didn't come off. Bloody lip, bloody beard, and all. So.
There you go. That's good. So Columbus has a lot of pieces on defense. They also have some really good forwards. Cam Atkinson's still there. Nick Foligno is going to be able to be a thorn in your side. It's hard not to like Columbus in this matchup, especially given what they did last year. And Pierre-Luc Dubois is a young stud. The Blue Jackets are looking really smart for having taken him over Puljujarvi. I'm just going to say that.
And I mean, Columbus is coming into this hot, coming off a series win versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, so they're feeling good about themselves. Minus that fourth game where they gave up 3 goals in a matter of 3 minutes.
That was just kind of the wave for that series. You know, we give up a 3-goal lead. You give up a 3-goal lead. It doesn't matter. The Columbus Blue Jackets win Game 5 in the shutout. So, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, given Columbus has shown they're just one of those teams where they'll fight. They'll stay in there. They're not going to go away easy. Because of that and because of the fire that Tampa Bay has, I see this going 7, but I do see Tampa Bay this year redeeming themselves and going on.
In good faith, after what happened last year, I cannot I can see Tampa Bay moving forward. I can see that happening, but if you're asking me a pick, especially if it were any other team, I might say Tampa Bay. But right now, I like Columbus in 6 or 7.
Okay.
I think they have a very strong goalie tandem where they really both Korpisalo and Merzlikins stepped up big in the qualifying round. They will absolutely need to step up again. Tampa, even without Stamkos, it has some serious weapons with Kucherov, Braden Point, Yanni Gord. All those guys are just incredible. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my boy Blake Coleman. I miss you, Pickles. Please love me still, but that's a different issue.
I could see Columbus taking it. I just think Tampa Bay is going to want to erase last year, and they're going to want to show people, look, it was just a fluke. We actually are better than this team and can beat them. Don't worry. So I think Tampa Bay will take it. But I do think it goes the full 7. I think that's going to be a back-and-forth series. I really do.
Yeah, could. Back-and-forth series for sure. This is going to be a war of attrition between these two guys all throughout the series.
And that brings us to our last matchup in the first round in the Eastern Conference, where it features the Montreal Canadiens versus the Philadelphia Flyers. The Montreal Canadiens feeling good about themselves, coming off of eliminating the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Carey Price did exactly what we said he needed to do. Step up, show that you can still play goalie, and you will help your team win a series. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. Like you just said, sometimes a goalie can steal the series, and Carey Price absolutely did exactly that. It was perfect for them. It worked out well, obviously, and they were the first of the 12 seeds to top a 5 seed in the qualifying round.
Yes. And you have Philadelphia coming out of the round robin looking like the best team currently in the league with the way that they played. I mean,
I'm not giving input on that.
I know how you feel about the Philadelphia Flyers, but the way they played, they looked They looked good. They looked really, really good. And they have a stud young goaltender, it looks like right now, in Carter Hart.
Carter
So
Hart.
this could look
Remember
like
that name.
this
If
could
you
be a
don't know it
goaltending
already.
matchup the entire way through.
Yeah, but it's not just Carter Hart. These guys they've had a stacked roster for a very long time.
Yes.
You've got Jacob Voracek, you've got Travis Konechny, you've got Kevin Hayes, who you stole from you basically signed. Sure, you traded the Jets, but you stole it from the Rangers. Let's call it what it is. Ivan Provorov is stepping up. Shane Gostisbehere is there on defense. This is a team that is really built, and when they get hot, it is absolutely terrifying. Sean Couturier, James Van Riemsdyk. I can keep going with these guys. It is absurd the talent they have, and the fact that they're doing it in front of not only Carter Hart, but Brian Elliott got a shutout. Brian Elliott looked really good.
Yep.
Old Brian Elliott, who couldn't stop a puck in Calgary to save his life, but that's just kind of a thing that happens in Calgary for whatever reason.
Yeah, but I mean, Philadelphia, if there's one team that's going to ride a goaltender, it looks like they're going to ride Hart through this playoffs.
Absolutely. But the point is, it's not even like they'll need to ride Hart. I firmly believe that they will get the support on the offensive end to where Hart just needs to anchor it down. And he is more than capable of that. But the key matchup is going to be between the two goalies here.
And maybe it turns into one of those things if Philly does get, let's say, a 3-0 series lead, just needing that one more game, maybe they put Elliott in there to give Hart that resting day because of the stacked lineup they have.
Maybe. It's not the craziest thing in the world. I mean, would I recommend that you sit a guy like that in the playoffs?
Oh, no, not recommended.
No. But
especially if he's playing out of his mind.
But if you need to, I'm not uncomfortable with that because Brian Elliott has been solid for you. Yeah. So definitely good for them.
I think Philadelphia moves on. I'd say it's going to go 5 or 6, but I believe Philadelphia moves on.
Philly in 5. Carey Price steals a game, gets shut out, huge standing ovation, from everyone's living rooms in Montreal. And then from there, it just doesn't matter.
Yep.
Philly, too good.
As you mentioned, Montreal was the first team that was a 12 seed to move on. We go over to the West now, where you have the Chicago Blackhawks, who also were a 12 seed, found their way into the playoffs by knocking off the Edmonton Oilers. Where did the Blackhawks finally return to form when they were winning Stanley Cups?
I'm just going to ask everyone to take a quick look at the Blackhawks roster and just remind you what the league has done to help Chicago, because that's all the NHL is. We just helped the Chicago Blackhawks return to glory. They are the youngest team. They were the youngest team in the qualifying round. They are the youngest team in this playoffs. And that's crazy to say because their core of, Duncan Keith, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, they're all still there and they're all still doing great. Mm-hmm. But you have guys that have gotten a second chance with the Bruins, such as Oli Mata, who was starting to fall off in Pittsburgh. He's looking pretty good here. You've got Drake Kajula. I'm so sorry.
You're good. You had to sound that name out.
No, I had to look at it because all that was looking. It's been so long. I was getting a bad. I couldn't. All I heard was Caligula, and I know that was wrong, and I don't know why.
Gotcha.
We're not moving anyway. You've got Alex Nylander, who was everywhere in Game 4 against the Edmonton Oilers in the offensive zone, putting shots on net from every possible angle, skating his heart out. Mm-hmm. And Dylan Strome looks, for the first time in his professional career, at least from what I've seen, Dylan Strome looks more than competent. You've got a line with Patrick Kane, Kirby Dach, and Alex DeBrincat. Get out. That's dangerous.
Well, they're going to have a tough test, though, because they're facing the Golden Knights, who are by far the best expansion team in any sport ever.
Yes.
To be doing what they're doing. They looked good in the round robin in the West. They came out winning 3 games. Golden Knights are not a team to look past. I think this will be a tougher series than many might think, just because I think Chicago continues on a hot streak. I do believe Vegas wins the series in 6 or 7, though.
Chicago is going to push them, but it just comes down to they both have solid goalies, but the tandem of Leonard and Fleury is absurd.
Yes.
So
Leonard got the call for game 1.
Leonard is getting the call. Look, you can convince me that maybe one of those guys is going to falter, but you can't convince me that both will. Unfortunately for Chicago, I really, really like what they've done. They've played some really good hockey, especially in the qualifying round.
Mm-hmm.
But I like at the minimum, I like Vegas in 6, but it's probably going to go to 7.
Yeah, and again, it'll be another great series. 2 very capable teams, but
very capable.
Vegas just playing the way they played. Again, even though they're a third year team, third year team.
Yes,
if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember when they became
a
team.
Their first season was 2018. They were in the 2017, 2018. So this is their this was their third season.
Third season.
Yeah.
So they're looking to repeat their success from last year as well. But we're going to move on down to my favorite team, the team I'm pulling for, the Colorado Avalanche versus the Arizona Coyotes. I loved what I saw from the Avalanche in the round robin. They had that 0.1 second goal by Nazem Kadri against the St. Louis Blues in the first game. They handled the Dallas Stars, and then they fought against the Vegas Golden Knights, coming back 3 times and then eventually losing in overtime. But they looked great. I mean, with Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar playing the way that he's still playing, Gabriel Landeskog, you have Francois and Grubauer in net, both holding their own. Another goalie tandem that'll probably play into this. The Avalanche look good. They're young, they're fast, they got that playoff experience, they look good, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, the Avalanche look really, really good. They definitely surprised me. Obviously, they had the 2nd seed in their division going into this, but I just did not expect them to come out the way they did. I can't be happier for the Avalanche fans and you, because I know that is a big deal for you. But Nazem Kadri is looking really, really good, really comfortable in this. The line of Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen is something to fear. It will be, so long as for the foreseeable future. So it's hard to go against the Avalanche, but if there's one guy who I really, really like on the other side, it's what Darcy Kemper's been doing, because he has been so good this year, and he picked up right where he left off going in the qualifying.
Oh, yes. And he was without a doubt the Coyotes' star against the Predators in the qualifiers. He held the net down. He helped that team get into where they are. He was their MVP.
Steal the series. Let's call it what it is. It's another series where the goalie absolutely stole the series.
Yes. Now, while if Kemper's still on, could it give the Avalanche fits? Yes, fully aware of that. I just believe with all the pieces the Avalanche have, their speed especially. I mean, when Nathan McKinnon has the puck, he seems to skate faster with it than when he does not have it. It's amazing to watch. I think the Avalanche take this series in 5 or 6. I just think they're going to be able to overcome Kemper playing his butt off, and the goalie tandem of Grubauer, Francois has been great. They both looked really good in the qualifiers.
Yeah. I'm also leaning Avalanche, but this roster is kind of built where, sure, the flashiest names on offense are without a doubt Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel, but you've got a lot of young guys in here. Clayton Keller's playing on this team. Lawson Krause is here. Christian Dvorak, there are a lot of really young guys who can make a big difference on this team. I like the Avalanche in 5, but again, wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if this is just a team who got hot and rode their goaltender past a very strong Avalanche team.
Yes, hopefully that does not happen. Again, it could also be one of those years where all these young guys, they get their playoff experience in, they get their feet wet, and it just makes them even hungrier coming in next year.
Playoff experience. You mean that they just lose, get their hearts broken, and learn from losing? That's what you mean, right? I just want to.
Yeah, which pretty much happens to a lot,
No, that's how you gain that. You got to gain that experience.
Coming from a fan who not too long ago watched a Colorado Avalanche team win about 48 points in an entire season. But we don't need to go down that road. Not memories
No.
I'd like to remember.
No, you got Cale Makar out of that. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So, and he's definitely held his own. So we're going to be moving down now. Dallas versus Calgary. So Calgary knocked off the Winnipeg Jets. Dallas looked okay. Could have played a little better. Didn't have the best round robin, especially getting shut out by the Colorado Avalanche in that second game. They did beat St. Louis in a shootout in their final game. This could be a very close series. This is one that's most likely, I think, to go all 7. Calgary's not going to be seeing anything new with the Dallas Stars. And
there's really no reason to see anything new from the Dallas Stars. You know who their guys are. Jamie Benn's going to bring it. Tyler Seguin's going to bring it. Ben Bishop is a big presence in net who's going to step up and has that playoff experience that we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what you're getting with the Stars. They have pieces on defense. I don't need to tell anyone about how good Miro Heiskanen is. And this, as good as Cale Makar skates, Miro Heiskanen might match that. I said it. He is so good. But
agreed.
I
mean, they got Ben. The Stars have Ben Bishop in goal. Not a goalie to snuff at.
No, that's a.
You got.
Look, he's a goalie that you can go on a big ride. Go on a run with. Excuse me.
I mean, again, you got Jamie Benn, you got Pavelski, so Tyler Seguin. Stars have the pieces, but a guy that the Flames have a guy that not many people talk about. He's probably underappreciated from a league-wide standpoint in Johnny Gaudreau, who is no slouch when it comes to playing. He can help a team. You have Tkachuk. Why do these people have to have such weird spellings and such weird Tkachuk, however you say his name?
Yeah. Look, well, Matt Tkachuk, of course, he's coming off a bit of a questionable qualifying round where in the last game he did get not the smartest hit on Mark Scheifele. He did reach out to Scheifele, so you love to see it. And
Scheifele did forgive him.
Yeah, which is good. But Kachuk's a guy you want on your team for sure.
But even watch, because I watched that hit live. It wasn't like he put force into it. It was just, it almost looked more like it was just a happenstance from just the way things were going. He didn't forcibly try to hit Scheifele. It just sort of Scheifele made a quick move the opposite way, and it looked more like his momentum just brought him in to him. So
kind of you could question the actual necessity, but it did seem more of an actual boom boom type of thing. It did not look to be
no malintent. Malintent in it. Just sort of just wrong place, wrong time.
Exactly.
Deal, which again would lead into why he reached out to Scheifele, and I didn't see it yet, but I'm guessing apologize.
Don't be surprised if Tkachuk makes his presence known and he gets under someone on the Stars' skin early and starts causing problems for them, because part of his game is getting in their heads, and there aren't many players who are better than Matt Tkachuk at it.
True. So. And I do see Calgary taking this in 7.
You like Calgary in 7?
I like Calgary in 7.
I can't fault you for that. This is kind of weird because you look at these two teams, and there are two teams who have been in the playoffs a lot over the last few years, but they haven't really been able to get over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough. I am going to roll with Dallas. I feel like why not them? The time is now. If they're going to go on a run, this is probably when. So I really like what Tyler Seguin can do. I like Jamie Benn. I really want to pick up and go for the Flames, but I do think that the Stars are just going to be a bit too much on the size front.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Granted, Milan Lucic on the Flames Milan Lucic has resurrected his career on the Flames. So
yes, definitely
Milan Lucic is going to be very, very busy this series, to say the least.
To say the least. And that brings us to our final matchup in the West. We have the St. Louis Blues versus the Vancouver Canucks. St. Louis, again, number 1 seed coming in the West. falling to that 4 seed. They didn't look just like Boston. They did not look like the St. Louis before the shutdown.
No.
I don't know what it was about the shutdown, but both number ones just didn't come out of it very well.
No, they did not. Same thing with the Bruins. You hope it's a big wake-up call because the St. Louis Blues are definitely one of the top. I'm going to say they're the top 4 teams talent-wise among that are remaining in these playoffs. So you really hope that they can kind of get it together. But if they can't, on the other end, you have a very young, very hot, very confident Vancouver Canucks team.
Yes.
So,
they knocked off Vancouver knocked off the Minnesota Wild, but it's not like they rested. They had game 4. They fought it out. They made sure to win it in 4. They didn't take a chance by going to game 5. They played strong.
They were down going in. They were down in the third period in game 4.
Mm-hmm.
They managed to come back and they pushed it into overtime despite having that game to burn. So,
Vancouver, like sort of said, Vancouver might be one of those teams who are looking at this like, you know what? This is a year anyone could really win this. We can. So why can't we be the team to just, you know what, come out of nowhere and win this thing? So they look to be on a mission. It really all depends on how St. Louis comes out after the round robin that they played. If they come out fire under their belly, wanting to prove that, look, we are still the team that we were before all this, then St. Louis might be able to cruise through this series. I think, given everything, I do think St. Louis prevails. I'm going to say in 5 or 6. Just I think they're going to come out of the round robin and saying to themselves, "We're better than this. What just happened?" And
I think they're going to come out of the round robin saying, "We're so much better than this.
Yes.
What the hell happened?" And they're going to play with. If they don't come out with an insane amount of fury trying to defend what is theirs, then they're dead in the water. But I don't think that'll happen. I really believe in this team. I actually, now that we slept on it, I really, really like this team going forward. So give me the Blues in 5.
Blues in 5? Yeah. Sounds about right. So those are all our matchups we got. Stanley Cup matchup. Who are you going with?
Okay. So I need everyone to understand the pain that this causes me to make this particular pick. Because I watched a good amount of the round robin. I see the writing on the wall. The best team in that round robin, without a doubt, was the Philadelphia Flyers. It kills me. It kills me to say this, but I like the Flyers to go to the Stanley Cup final. I believe that the St. Louis Blues are going to wake up in a way that we haven't seen, and they're going to kind of tear through what they need to tear through. And I think in the end, they will end up making it back. I like the Blues to repeat. If the Flyers somehow win this, it is the worst season for the New Jersey Devils in the history of their franchise. I don't want to hear it. That's
having to watch your biggest rival win a Stanley Cup while your other rival that's just across the river gets the number 1 pick in this year's draft.
Which is fair, because I'm not complaining. It's totally fair. The Devils got 2. The Rangers are bound to get 1. But, you look at the expectations the Devils had going into this year.
Yes.
And how they've had bigger expectations for seasons prior. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the way that they just failed to meet those expectations and the way that every single thing they did seems to have failed so magically, you can't convince me that it's a worse season. But that being said, hats off to the Rangers. Really, really happy because I like it better when all the teams are strong. So, the Rangers are doing what they need to do. Now the Devils need to do what they need to do. The Flyers are already at where they need to be at. They're going to go on a tear this playoffs. They're so goddamn good. And I can't stress enough how young and how much of a stud Carter Hart is. So, sky's the limit for that kid, especially when you look at the fact that he's only 22, 23 years old.
Well, especially as we mentioned, the team that he has in front of him.
It's absurd.
So he just fell into a very, very good situation, and it will benefit him greatly, unless for whatever reason he drops off.
Yeah. But give me the Blues in 6 over the Flyers in the Stanley Cup final.
So you're at this part. You're looking for a very rare occurrence when it comes to the NHL Stanley Cup, and that's a back-to-back winner.
It's not that I'm looking for it. It's just I saw what these guys did.
Mm-hmm.
The team is mostly together. They're a really, really good-looking team, and it's hard to pick against them, especially knowing what they can do when they're on top of their game.
Okay. Well, me personally, I also have the Flyers making it to the Stanley Cup. However, I do have my Colorado Avalanche making it and ousting them and winning the Stanley Cup. Now, yes, I'm going to admit
games?
There's bias there. I'll say that's going to go 6 or 7.
Okay.
Those two teams, they'll battle it out. They'll play each other hard. It'll go 6 or 7. I mean, I think any Stanley Cup matchup at this point, I expect to go 6 or 7 because that just seems to be the trend. When it comes to the Stanley Cup championship, both teams fight as hard as they can and they find ways to win. So yeah. I see this going 6 or 7. I am going to pick my Avalanche to win. Yes, that's biased, I know, but that's who I'm going with.
I wish you luck with that pick.
I hope it winds out. I do. Well, so I mean, that does mean I see the Avalanche defeating the Blues in the second round due to the reseeding that's going to happen.
Yes, that makes sense to me. So, because you see the Flames winning and the Knights winning, so that makes sense. That works. Okay.
Yep. So, well, let's actually get a check-in right now because I want to see what's going on with the current game.
It's going to overtime.
It's going into overtime. Well, there you go.
Overtime. So going to catch that definitely. Who knows? Catch what I had to say about that. My Twitter is Captain_Z Morgan, and my Instagram is ZachMorgan47. Give me a follow. Yeah.
Well, Zach, thanks again for joining me. Everyone, have a great rest of your day. Go Avalanche. Peace.
Take care.